So we know that in order to evaluate agents, we probably need to go beyond human preference because in these long-running traces, you're not going to be able to battle. So how are we planning on doing it?
Yeah, so one is to look at the trace in whole, which will carry many different signals. Some of them will still be human-centered, such as people expressing that they hate the output. We can also look at things that are driven by environment feedback. So that could be like a bash command that errors out really hard, and the model needs to figure out how to correct this quickly and shoot off a bunch of other commands. And it's about a robustness towards not just the user it's interacting with, but the environment that it's interacting with.
Yeah. And so the general philosophy, if I'm understanding you correctly, is that we basically have the following flow. Users use agent mode and give us traces. Then we mine those traces for signals. And those signals can be some combination of explicit and implicit, basically conversions. So users might say, hey, yes, you successfully completed my task. That's a +1. Or no, you didn't do a good job. That's a -1. By clicking buttons, or by saying it in natural language, or by doing things eventually like clicking the button that says, hey, I'm going to download the file. And I really like this. I'm going to, I made a PowerPoint. I'm going to use it actually for my presentation, or so on and so forth. I published the website. I merged the GitHub PR.
And those last ones are about when are people willing to accept an agent's output and deliver it into the real world. And I think that's like a very strong sense of like, hey, this is a high quality output.
Yeah, right.
And these traces are filled with a very rich source of information. And what we're doing today is just a start. There's much more to be mined out and understood about all this stream of real use case in the real world.
Right. The methodology that we have, and you can look at the blog for more details, it allows us to do it for every subcomponent in the agent so we can disentangle via basically an RCT, a randomized control trial, all of the different effects. Yeah, some of these signals are just completely objective, completely grounded in just the model's ability to just do things like call a tool correctly.
Exactly.
And it's just making errors. And so the user asks it, hey, make me, research the internet, make me a PowerPoint on XYZ. And then the model's going out there and calling tools incorrectly, and it's trying to access the internet. It can't. It gets an error, and it gets the error back, and then it can't recover. It's like, what the hell is this model doing? This guy's completely messed up.
Yeah.
And so then you penalize that guy a lot. And so we actually see this happen with some models.
Yeah,
in our leaderboard.
Some models struggle to be honest with the tools they have in their inventory, and
they hallucinate.
They hallucinate tools,
which is one of our signals, tool hallucination.
This is one of our signals, yes. And I think it's a particularly bad thing to run into, even though it is somewhat rare. But I personally hit a couple models and they hallucinate, and it's over. It's like, the trace is over. I'm done. I'm moving on.
Yeah, and I hate this model.
Yeah, no, I hate this model. Exactly. I could never use that for my true day-to-day work if I'm hitting this all the time.
And the longer running it is, the worse it is, because the more opportunities there is for it.
Yeah, 1,000 tool calls, one of them fails, that could ruin the whole thing.
I know, and then it goes again and again and again and again and again.
Exactly.
And it's like, what's the definition of insanity?
It's doing the same thing over and expecting a different result.
Exactly. But that's what they're doing.
That's
what the same. Maybe we should call it the insanity signal.
Insanity signal. Yeah, I think that would work.